This being said, the great fear when it comes to illumination as a way to grow into knowledge is that the message may become corrupted. So let's create an absolute here. Either there is or there isn't anything to be discerned from divine or heavenly illumination. Our official definition of consciousness is, in the empiric sense, completely aimless.
Alright, welcome back everybody. This episode is going to be a little different than previous episodes in the series. I'm realizing the material is already confusing enough and want to take advantage of the fact that Ra's message is much clearer when viewed in retrospect. Meaning we're still going to be working through the material session by session, but the mysteries that Don probes in the earlier sessions, might be less mysterious after 40 years of them, kind of hanging around in the air and existing, right? So something that's presented as like a mystery in session 1 or 2 might be much clearer with information revealed from, say session 76 or from a 2011 quote channeling, and then obviously, other sources too that kind of corroborate with, I don't even know how to say that word, with Ra's message. So I think you can understand why I felt the need to make a video like this, at the beginning of the series, or the session-by-session breakdown series, and, comprehensive, fundamental intro, the Law of One. Welcome. We've pretty much gone through all of this in the last few videos, so get ready for a speed ran explanation of how the raw material came into public circulation. Beginning in the early 1960s, Don Elkins, a professor of physics and engineering at the University of Louisville, embarks on an experiment designed to communicate with extraterrestrials. Don's associate, Carla Ruckert, details the events that then transpired as follows. In 1962, I joined an experiment that Don had created in order to start to test a hypothesis which he had developed with the help of Harold Price, an engineer for Ford Motor Company. Price had acquainted Don with some information which Don had found quite interesting. Its source was allegedly extraterrestrial. Its content was largely metaphysical and seemed to be in line with all that Don had learned up to at that point. Within this material, instructions were given for creating the means whereby to generate further material from the same source without the necessity of actual physical contact with extraterrestrials. Don's hypothesis was that this phenomena might be reproducible. So, he invited a dozen of his engineering students to join in an experiment with the objective of achieving some sort of telepathic contact with a source similar to that of the Detroit groups. As we sat meditating, according to the instructions, everyone in the group except me began to make strange noises with their mouths. The nature of the experiment changed drastically when the group was visited by a contactee from Detroit. The contactee sat down with the group and almost immediately was contacted, apparently by telepathic impression, saying, "Why don't you speak the thoughts that are on your minds? We are attempting to use you as instruments of communication, but you are all blocked through fear that you will not be speaking the proper words." After that night, a month had not gone by before half the group had begun to produce information. It's from these experiments that Don and Carla would later go on to create LNL Research. 19 years of channel material was then created, published, and still remains freely available on the LNL Channeling Archive. We're jumping ahead quite a bit here to the raw contact, but the team received and published various messages from a wide variety of group souls, identifying as Quo, Hatan, Latwi, and more. As far as the whereabouts of the initial team that contacted Ra, Jim is still alive and kicking at nearly 80 years of age, showing up occasionally for Q&As on the Law of One Seattle Facebook group. Carla passed away in 2015 from health complications, and Don Elkins tragically took his own life in a 5.5-hour police standoff in November of 1984. Following this tragedy, Ra has not spoken through a channel since. LNL continues to publish their work in conscious channeling, and this can of course also be found for free on the LNL website. Back to the raw contact. 19 years of experimentation leads to Carla taking on a more intensive role as channel. She develops an ability which Don calls tuned trance telepathy. In this unconscious state, Ra is capable of speaking through Carla without the noise associated with the practice of conscious channeling. For those familiar, this method of channeling is similar to the messages channeled by Edgar Cayce, also known as the Sleeping Prophet. And as a general note, this tuned trance telepathy typically tends to generate messages of greater clarity and accuracy in contrast to the messages generated from conscious channeling. So, the team has practiced their craft, everyone's spoken the right magical incantations, and Carla leaves her body so that Ra may speak through her. Tape recorders are wired near Carla's mouth in order to capture the audio, and 106 sessions of conversations with an extraterrestrial being were then carried out and transcribed into text. The material is published in its entirety across 5 books, and can also be accessed for free on the law1.info website. The raw material is often considered the clearest channeled message in public circulation, and the exact meaning of its contents still remains a mystery. The Law of One is something that's been worked with throughout history, finding a wide variety of expressions through fantasy media, religion, metaphysics, spirituality, and more. Ra is helping us develop a technical language for the metaphysical laws of the universe, similar to how math serves as a technical language for the physical laws of the universe. Using this technical language handed down to us, we can not only theorize exciting ways of working with the Law of One for our individual purposes, we can also recognize distorted application of the Law of One and course correct as necessary. This is something that will become especially relevant as we begin working through historic, or religious, expressions of the Law of One. Things get confused and lost in time. The precision to which this technical language must be carefully adhered to cannot be understated, especially because it's something discerned through channeling, not science. Proof in the pudding, or nothing. You're working with logic that's fundamentally hardly perceptible. It also has the potential to be a distortion of what's real, instead of what's actually real too. With this being said, when we say things like 3D space-time, self-awareness, realizing itself as time-space intelligent infinity, we are not just saying things, we're allegedly working with measurable conceptions of metaphysical laws. Physical laws are perhaps discerned through science and experimentation, and metaphysical laws are perhaps discerned through magical rituals that create portals between dimensions which allow higher dimensional entities to tell us what they know. 1.7. I am Ra. Consider, if you will, that the universe is infinite. This is yet to be proven or disproven, but we can assure you that there is no end to yourselves, your understanding, what you would call your journey of seeking, or your perceptions of the creation. That which is infinite cannot be many, for manyness is a finite concept. To have infinity, you must identify or define that infinity as unity. Otherwise, the term does not have any referent or meaning. In an infinite creator, there is only unity. You have seen simple examples of unity. You have seen a prism which shows all colors stemming from the sunlight. This is a simplistic example of unity. In truth, there is no right or wrong. There is no polarity, for all will be, as you would say, reconciled at some point in your dance through the mind-body-spirit complex, which you amuse yourself by distorting in various ways at this time. This distortion is not in any case necessary. It is chosen by each of you as an alternative to understanding the complete unity of thought which binds all things. You are not speaking of similar or somewhat like entities or things. You are everything, every being, every emotion, every event, every situation. You are unity. You are infinity. You are love light, light love. You are. This is the Law of One. There's a lot of controversy which Ra leads us into right off the bat. In truth, there is no right or wrong, being the heavy hitter, along with her assurance that the universe is indeed truly infinite. There's also a religious aspect to this infinite universe that gets brought up. Ra being perceived as a deity from the Egyptian pantheon, who has allegedly come to Earth in an effort to spread the message of their creator, is definitely a twist I don't think 20th century occultism saw coming. Supposedly the reason there hasn't been a mass landing from the A's yet is because it would be perceived as an abridgment of humanity's free will. I'm just saying, out of every timeline, Group Soul Ra being the celestial version of Space Jehovah's Witnesses just feels a little unexpected. So, for right now, let's keep things simple. The central concepts of an infinite universe, an infinite creator, and the unity of thought that binds the infinity of all things is our primary object of focus. We'll also be skipping our complete interpretation of the passage, opting to instead analyze the tail end of 1.7. You are everything, every being, every emotion, every event, every situation. You are unity, you are infinity, you are love light, light love, you are. This is the law of one. Is Ra actually enlightening us about the true nature of our soul? Are they saying something substantial, or are we being deceived by an elaborate hoax? Let's continue exploring Ra's definition of the Law of One in session 4.20. I am Ra. The Law of One, though beyond the limitations of name as you call vibratory sound complexes, may be approximated by stating that all things are one, that there is no polarity, no right or wrong, no disharmony, but only identity. All is one, and that one is love light, light love, the infinite creator. We'll get to the theological implication stuff later, but for right now, Ra starts us off with a hint when they express that a complete definition of the Law of One supersedes the capabilities of language. So we're instead given an approximate definition instead of an absolute definition. But we're still left to grapple with the reality of their statement. How could there be no disharmony in a world at war? How could you even say something as ridiculous as there being no right or wrong? Ra even goes so far as to denounce polarity, meaning that, from their perspective, yin and yang are just illusory constructs which serve to obfuscate the Law of One. We're familiar with the rules of space-time. Is Ra warming humanity up to the laws of time-space? Are we being initiated into a technical language which allows humanity ascension into heaven's mysteries? Or are we being lured into yet another pitfall of New Age thinking? Let's continue reading in session 4.20. One of the primal distortions of the Law of One is that of healing. Healing occurs when a mind-body-spirit complex realizes deep within itself the Law of One, that is, that there is no disharmony, no imperfection, that all is complete and whole and perfect. Thus, the intelligent infinity within this mind-body-spirit complex reforms the illusion of body, mind, or spirit to a form congruent with the Law of One. The healer acts as energizer or catalyst for this completely individual process. The second half of session 4.20 here begins to work out the logical differentiation between these worlds of space-time illusion and time-space reality. Or in other words, ways in which the Law of One can manifest into this world. You have seen the prism which shows all colors stemming from the sunlight. This is a simplistic example of unity. Let's take advantage of the fact that we're looking at the material after its completion and jump ahead to the depths of session 73.13. What was the orientation with respect to this type of communication for the one known as Jesus of Nazareth? I am Ra. You may have read some of this entity's workings. It offered itself as teacher to those mind-body-spirit complexes, which gathered to hear and even then spoke as through a veil, so as to leave room for those not wishing to hear. When this entity was asked to heal, it oftentimes did so, always ending the working with two admonitions. Firstly, that the entity healed had been healed by its faith, that is, its ability to allow and accept changes through the violet ray into the gateway of intelligent energy. Secondly, saying always, tell no one. These are the workings which attempt a maximal quality of free will while maintaining fidelity to the positive purity of the working. How far apart from each other are spirituality and magic anyways? Ra has expressed that the Law of One is truly universal in application. Ra also says that their series of communications about the Law of One isn't necessarily unique for its content, but its expression. People outsource their faith in miracles to a shadowy priesthood, instead of properly ascribing it to the technical knowledge which said priesthood has failed to adequately disclose to the public. Anyways, wrapping things up, the Law of One can be recognized as a unified truth contained within all spiritual traditions. Or I guess, the one truth behind all of this. So if this theory holds up, we should be able to identify elements of the Law of One across a comprehensive array of various spiritual practices, religions, and even stories from fictional media. Why, yes, I do have a new series planned for release soon. Why do you ask? Yep, so the video's over, guys. If you're busy or whatever, you can click off or don't want to hear me jabber. There's not gonna be anything else that's like really pertinent to the Law of One or the raw material. I'm just kind of talking and tacking this on at the end of the video because I can, and, you know, tacking whatever you want to say at the end of a video when you haven't uploaded in a while is way better than making like weird channel update videos. So this is the channel update. We're not making a channel update video. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed you know, what the video. I really hope it's up to a new standard of quality that I've been trying to hold myself to as a content creator, both in terms of the video editing maybe being a little bit better, not too good, and the real kicker is my script writing. Watching my previous videos, the worst part about watching old azlef content is, in my opinion, my script writing from my perspective. I feel like I could do a better job, or I guess the better way to put it is what's between you writing an essay in school, or you writing an essay for your own purposes, and you writing a video essay, and versus you narrating the script you wrote. It comes out different from, you know, when you write it on paper and when you say it out loud. So there's a little bit of a learning curve, kind of balancing those two worlds, but I feel like I've got it down a little bit more now. Maybe still not perfect, because obviously when you write, you know, something for people to read versus when you write for, you know, you to say, those are two different tones, and I really try to over intellectualize or be very intellectual with the series. So I do my best. I hope this video was like, I don't know. I hope we can keep this, you know, standard of quality, you know, here going forward. And I felt like the last SbSB series, or installment, the occult anatomy video, was also at this level. So yeah, future of the series and kind of what happened with this video. I did upload this year, guys. Super excited to upload another SbSB or session by session breakdown in 2024. You know, a little Christmas present, you know, to the people that's, you know, relevant to right now. You know, you could watch this after Christmas, but this video was initially, and you know, this is the part I've been talking for 3 minutes now, but this is the part that actually should be heard maybe. This video is initially, how do I want to say this? This was like part 1 in like what I would call a 10-part script. And each part of the script has different, you know, varying, like this was on the shorter side for what we've been writing so far, and it already turned out to be like 15 or 14 minutes long, which is probably, I'd say in anywhere between 10 to 20 minutes is kind of the ideal length. But we're doing a huge fundamental comprehensive intro to the raw material, to the Law of One, to all these concepts. We're creating a church, we're unifying church and state, we've secularized spirituality, we have all the answers, and so I'm kind of just putting it all in. I try to put it all in one video, and this video is an intro to that one video. So I hope this video really did build up the mysteries and secrets for people who kind of have an interest in the raw material but don't, you know, really feel like they understand what it's saying. Like this video is not intended to get you there, but this video is an intro to what's gonna end up being like it's not gonna be 9 videos. I'm gonna put them into 2 videos, you know, like a 4 or 5 part video series to really get a full, comprehensive, you know, intro and understanding to the raw material in Law of One, just so you can hear it all in one place. And, you know, I thought it would be best to put that in one video, but, you know, guess what, loser? It's 2024, and the YouTube meta now is to, you know, do your Minecraft hardcore builds, and no one cares about it, no one watches them, and then you put it all in one video, and, you know, everyone goes nuts. Minecraft hardcore, the movie, you know, azlef, quick introduction to the Law of One, raw material, the movie. People click on that, so you know it's gonna be much longer, much more comprehensive. So expect you know, I'm sure some people who want to see more Law of One or raw material content will be really excited about the drip feed of content, because I feel like as a content creator right now, I've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes with the content library. So basically being able to pull images or sound effects or music, you know, or the AI art, as I'm sure you've seen in this video, a lot more readily. And it's way easier to edit videos now. And I edited this video so much quicker than previous videos, where I can safely say it really does feel like I'm having more of a bottleneck in my ability to write and to research and put together, you know, enjoyable, well-written, interesting scripts. So that's actually super exciting, because for me it was like, I really like doing this. I really like video editing, but video editing is so dry over like you know, if these videos are like 40 minutes long, it can be really hard. You know, that's probably why there's so much, I didn't really realize about till becoming a content. It's probably why there's so much gaming content on YouTube. Is because it's just really easy to make, to record yourself playing a game and like move the footage around. All this footage has to get put together to match the script, and due to the subject matter, there isn't like a whole lot of, you know, raw material art, which is why we use a lot of you know, other spiritual and religious artwork, you know, for more reasons than one, right? Obviously want people to like kind of draw the connections there too, between what Ra's saying and, you know, what these things look like in established history, right? So yeah, let's kind of wrap things up here. Yeah, this video was initially supposed to be like, it's now gonna be 5 videos that got put in one video, but before that it was just one really big video. But I thought that wouldn't be a good idea, and it's just better to hodgepodge them all together. So I already have the next script planned, and expect like a lot more content. Again, like a lot of the work I've been doing behind the scenes is ways for me to launchpad and have an easier time creating content. All these AI tools and stuff like that too. I kind of hate AI generated content. I hope you do too. But you can use AI tools for your content or for your business or whatever. It's not all evil. It's not all bad. It's a nuanced, definitely a nuanced thing in the world. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. And I'll see you guys next time. Yeah, take care.